What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction, and in this one we have American things. I didn't realize we're so American until moving to Australia. Australia culture shocks. I'm excited. Before we dive into this and figure all these things out, if you happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Let's hear what she's got to say.
American things that I didn't realize were so American until moving to Australia. Hey,
Talk
what's up,
to
you
me.
guys? Ashley here. Welcome back to the channel. I've been doing this in like short form version over on my TikTok and Instagram, so make sure to go check that out.
Nice.
I'll have them linked down below as well. Where just, especially since the last time I went home to the US in August, I just picked up on more and more things where I was like, wow, I did not realize this was like so American. And it was also like
I feel
moments like
that.
those where I was just like, genuinely, I don't think that I'll ever stop having random little culture shocks come up. So
I feel
let's share
that.
them. I haven't done a sit down video in a while. Like, subscribe, let's get into it. First topic, phone bills. Phone bills are
Oh.
so much more expensive in the US.
Craziness.
I was blown away when I lived in New Zealand and then when I moved here to Tasmania how cheap phone plans are relatively.
How cheap are
Obviously,
they?
all of this is just relative in my experience. I currently
Gotcha.
live in Hobart, Tasmania, but I have traveled around Australia a bit and then I have lived in many different places throughout the US growing up.
Yes.
But phone bills, I swear it was definitely well over 100 USD last time I lived
It's
in the
ridiculous.
US, just for like enough data just to get me by for the month, and
Really?
just for one person, over 100 USD. Whereas here in Taz, I currently pay like 60 Australian a month. So, and I have like over 250 gigs of data, which I never use all of it, but that's well under half. That's like 40 USD Australia versus 100 plus USD in the US.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
really shocked about that one
Okay.
because especially living in Tasmania, especially, I was like, oh yeah, phone bills, like things are just actually going to be more expensive. It's a bit more
Yeah.
rural. It's an island off an island, yada yada. But no, I don't know. Have you ever experienced that or whatnot? Because I think it was one of the first things I like really picked up on, and then I was reminded of it recently, and I was like, oh wow, like that is so much cheaper here. Why is it so much cheaper here versus in the US? So cheaper phone bills, pros of moving to Australia. Number two is
For that, I think Australia does have cheaper phone bills, but our phone bill was ridiculous over here. Like, I don't know what kind of plan she had or what it was on. I got a T-Mobile plan, which I think is an expensive plan, but for my part of it, it's for 3 people. We got 3 people on the plan. We all pay like $80 a month. Is it? It should like 85, like $85 a month. But we are also paying for the phone in the plan. So the plan alone is about 65 a month, and that's for like unlimited talk, text, data, unlimited everything. And then I pay like $20 a month for the phone because it's one of the newer phones. So her phone bill, like, while I don't argue that phone bills are cheaper in Australia because I've seen different videos that also say the same thing, her American phone bill was outrageous. And but the Australian phone bill for 250 gigs, $40. Yeah, it's not bad at all. That's pretty nice. Y'all still pay it cheaper than us, but yeah, phone plan alone only 65, then 20 extra a month for the actual phone. So,
is wages. This one's probably the most universal, like the most, I guess, known. Like, this isn't a niche topic. I'm not inventing anything here, but
yeah.
I'm still reminded very frequently throughout my week of how grateful I am to live in a country that pays their workers more than $8 an hour. I remember
That's
growing
beautiful.
up and
That's
in the US,
beautiful.
and the federal minimum wage was like $7 and something cents.
$7.25.
I don't know what it is
Still
now,
is.
to preface, and I know different
Still
states have different
$7.25, I
minimum
think.
wages and whatnot.
Oh, I didn't know that. I think the federal minimum wage is still $7.25. Now, state-wise, I'm not sure.
But still, like, especially casual rates here being sometimes upwards of almost $30 an hour Australian, but then when you convert it, that's still like 22, 23 USD. That's just
That's
something
beautiful.
that
That's
I know there's so
beautiful.
many layers to pay, and I know in the US, on the other hand, growing up in a family that has a small business, like how expensive it is to cover everything and pay wages. And I know there's just so many layers to this topic. So this is more of just like an open discussion, just an open thought process.
Yeah.
Another pro moving to Australia. Overall higher wages, especially if you are looking into hospo or retail and you're looking to move to Australia and just want like a whatever job just to get your footing, and you're just looking for a random job just to get acclimated. I definitely think it's a lot easier because, like, for example, when I was doing this whole debacle of figuring out if I wanted to stay in Australia after my degree or move back to the US, one of the things that, like, I literally have a sticky note on my wall to remind me is regardless of what country I move to, both would have no job, and I would have to figure that out. But like just a random hospo or retail job to hold me over in the US, I would be getting not even 20 Australian an hour minimum.
Nah.
So, or maybe even maximum, depending on what state.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't much to live on. And that definitely would have made things a bit harder.
Yeah.
For sure. And I get a lot of anxiety around money. So, another check in the Australia columns. We have cheaper phone bills and higher wages.
Yes. Yes. I get anxious about money as well, and I think she's completely right. Australia's minimum wage, even when you convert it to US dollars, is still much more than US minimum wage, and it seems like the hourly wage in general is probably like if you averaged it out, y'all probably still make more hourly. I'm assuming when converted to US dollars. But yeah, I think the federal minimum wage here is and always has been like, or since I've been alive, like $7.25 an hour. State minimum wages, I don't know what states pay what. But yeah, it's just a lot of these jobs just don't provide livable wages. There's a lot of jobs out there, like she said, retail, things such as that, where a lot of them just aren't livable wages. So I think she made the right choice staying in Australia when it comes to that. And yes, the U.S. needs to do a better job of paying workers more. Just paying workers livable wages. Just pay livable wages. That's all we ask. I also think that is a check in the Australian column.
This is just a complete turn of events. Ketchup. Yeah. So I knew ketchup was American. Obviously, like the one thing that always gets like, oh, that's so American is like burgers and ketchup and fries and hot dog and mustard and like food, like fast food things. Like, yeah, cool. Yeah. We get it. That's American. But
we get it.
This really became ever present when my family came over for Christmas last year. And, you know, you would get ketchup with fries or whatever. But then you would taste the ketchup and it was tomato sauce. And they are different. I've been fighting people in the TikTok comments. They are different. Google even confirmed that it's different. Thank you, Google. Because ketchup has like more sugar and
that's what I figured.
It's a little bit thicker and normally is a bit more like vinegary, whereas tomato sauce, however you pronounce it, in my experience is a lot more watery. There's not as much flavor. I'm sure there's some sugar in some of them, but yeah, they are different, and I much prefer ketchup. Like, to the point where I was so upset not too long ago, I forget where I went, that I went to the store and I got a Heinz bottle of ketchup. So, thank you, Coles, for supplying me with my needs. Number 4, the park.
Yeah, the tomato sauce is watery. I don't do that. If it's more watery than ketchup, nah, we not doing that. Can't do it. Give me my ketchup. Especially when you got my fries. I need ketchup. I don't need no tomato sauce. Need ketchup.
Parking break. Oh my goodness! If you follow me on TikTok, this was a whole thing. Just over a month ago now, maybe even 2 months ago. Is obviously I knew with manual cars that you use your parking brake a lot more with the clutch and the different gear shifts and whatnot. And manual cars are definitely more common here in Australia than in the US. Like, definitely more automatic cars. Like, growing up, I really only drove automatic cars in the US.
Same.
But even with automatic cars here in Australia, I see everyone use the parking brake.
Really?
And I was just like, that is so interesting, because growing up, I was never taught to use the parking brake at all in an automatic car unless you were, like, parked on a hill of sorts.
Exactly.
And then it was really interesting, though, because a lot of the comments on the TikTok were really nice, and they were very educational with all the different things about, like, like it helps this part of your car over time and yada yada. And then I was like, well, maybe the cars I've driven have had like an automatic, like when you put it into park, like an extra automatic park brake of sorts. I don't know. I'm not a mechanic at all.
Yeah.
Very educational comment section about how, at least the cars here in Australia, it is definitely good to use your parking brake. So, noted, lesson learned. Bank transfers, keeping it.
That's very interesting. Parking. Yeah, I was never taught to use my parking brake as well. I driven automatic. Don't know how to drive stick shift. Was never really taught to use my parking brake. Like she said, like you're parked on a hill or like at a slant or something. Not pull it up. But that's very interesting. I'd love to know if you guys could drop in the comment section like how it helps the car, and what areas does it help the car in using that parking brake. I'd love to be informed about it, cause now I'm intrigued.
Going down the list, chatted about this before. I'm getting more used to it now, but especially in the first year when people are like, oh, what's your account number? What's your BSB? I was like, like in the US, I was taught like to hold that dear to your heart. Do not share that with anyone. But here it's just so casual. It's just like, oh yeah, here's my account details. Like there's literally a thing on my bank app here where it's like, oh, copy your details, send it to a friend. And it's just so chill. And I'm more used to it now, but in the US, I'm just so used to Venmo. Such an American thing is Venmo. Like, oh, I'll Venmo you. I'll Venmo you this. And yeah, just bank transfer situation is so different, and getting used to it now. But at first, when I moved here, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, Venmo. Nope, it's just a US thing. You do bank transfers here. I'm learning. It's been almost 2 years, and I'm still learning. Takeaway breakfast.
I learned the cool thing about Australia, about the bank transfers. I've learned that like doesn't matter who you bank with, as long as you got that number, like bank to bank transfers at no fee. In which now we have Zelle, but not all banks, I guess, cooperate with Zelle, and so sometimes if somebody's bank doesn't cooperate with Zelle, then you got to Venmo or Cash App or PayPal or however you transfer money. But Zelle is very easy to bank transfer if you have a bank that works with Zelle and has that option. Bank transfers are very easy now, but in Australia it sounds like they got to figure it out. Doesn't matter who you bank with, can bank to bank transfer with just that number.
I honestly could do one just on like food situations, but I feel like, I don't know, if you're interested in that, or if anything pique your interest, please let me know down in the comments. Engagement does mean a lot. I would love to have you. Let's discuss in the comments. So takeaway breakfast is such an American thing. Yes, there are some places, at least, again, I can only speak for Tasmania at the moment because that is currently where I live. But even when I visited like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and whatnot, takeaway breakfast is not that much of a thing. Like in the US, it is so normal when you go get your coffee to get a takeaway breakfast sandwich, to get something on the go. Like breakfast on the go is a lot more of a thing. Yes, cafes here, some of them do have like bacon and egg rolls, but that's it. And not everywhere has it. Like it's not as common. And then if they do have bacon and egg rolls, it's not super accommodating for people that have any dietary requirements. Like for example, the amount of like bacon and egg rolls here that are like coated in butter or cheese, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's a bummer. Like everything's pre-made, so then I can't have any. And obviously everywhere's different, but I've just noticed that like in the US, like a bagel shop or even cafes would do kind of more of like create your own, or most of it was pre-made, but then there was like a lot of room for accommodation to dietary requirements with takeaway breakfast. So, I mean, we all know my situation with bagels, so I'm not really going to go into that one too much. I mean, if you want any info on that one, I'll have the Daily Mail article linked down below. They also did one about me and bank transfers too, so I guess I'll have that down below as well. Except it was really nice because for the second time the Daily Mail picked up one of my TikToks, is they reached out for my permission. And I was like, well, that's really nice, because the first time I had no idea that they thought that a 7-second TikTok about a bagel was that interesting. Nonetheless, takeaway breakfast. I love takeaway breakfast, and I would be really open to seeing a bit more of that. here in Australia.
Yes.
Festive decor.
I'll have to look at that link about the bagels. I haven't seen the bagel thing. Bagel gate. Yeah, takeaway breakfast. I'm not big on takeaway breakfast. I like to come home and make my own breakfast. But there are plentiful options takeaway breakfast here in America. Like you can go to so many different places, order so many different things. Yeah, outlets options are limitless. Where it sounds like in Tasmania or in Hobart, where she's at, options are limited. And then everything or most things are like pre-made, so it may not be as good. And so, yeah, takeaway breakfast. That's just not really a topic I can expand on because I don't like doing that. I don't know.
I can already hear you guys in the comments. I know a lot of Australians are very much pro minimalist, pro less waste, pro I hate capitalism. And if that is the hill that you want to live on, you are more than welcome to. You are very entitled to have your opinion. That's great for you. But I also am in the middle area where, yes, I understand that festive decor can sometimes be very wasteful, depending on what you purchase.
Yeah.
But I love Christmas. I love Christmas. You can barely see it in the corner, but I have a little tree with some lights. I have a Christmas blanket. I have all my Christmas presents wrapped like over here that I'm going to put under my tree. Like, I love feeling festive. I love seasonal decor. I love celebrating the little things, like the change of seasons. And I feel like at least Tasmania is a lot better this year. But last year was my first Christmas in Australia, and it was actually quite sad. I understand that, not that I ever expect anyone to have like the insane Christmas light displays that they have in the US, like especially with how much higher energy is here, at least in Tas, but even like cafes or shops, or I don't know, just in the US it's so much more of like a big thing. Even just like the most minimal like festive decor, like it's so cozy. And yeah, I feel like I'm feeling a lot better about it this year because now Taz has TK Maxx, so I've been going there, and there's a couple other cute shops that have been like going all out, and I love it. And on the note more of like, oh, it's wasteful, yada yada. Again, yes, I do agree that some of it can be wasteful, but I also do think that it is quite possible to do it in a not so wasteful way. Like all of my decor, almost all of my decor is reused from the previous year. I even brought over some decor that I had in the US, so I'm reusing that. Like, yes, I see both sides of the argument, but I just feel like whenever I say, oh yeah, I love Christmas, I love festive decor, the main argument is, oh, that's so wasteful, screw capitalism. So pick your side. You're entitled to it, but I'm gonna pick the I like Christmas side, and I'm allowed to celebrate Christmas. And thank you.
Yes, I have no problem. I like capitalism. I like socialism as well. A great mixture of the two makes for a perfect society, I believe. But decor, I was never a decor person. I lived by myself in my own apartment for like 4 years. When I tell you the apartment didn't change not one time during those 4 years. There were no decorations ever put up. There were no Christmas trees put up. I had like two posters, inside of the entire apartment. Nothing changed because that's who I am. I'm one who doesn't care about decorations, who doesn't care about decor. I'm one. Is there Is there four walls? Is there a roof? Do I have a bed? Do I have a couch, a TV? I'm good. That's all I need. Don't need anything more. Whereas when I moved in with my wife, now it's seasonal decorations. It's decor for each season. You guys continue switching it out. You gotta continue adding things. You gotta continue decorating. You always see something. It's just something that I'm like mind blown, absolutely mind blown. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's her thing. I don't know how else to explain it, but so like she was explaining it, and I just remembered, that's the life that I live now as well.
Thank you for your consideration. To round off this list, receipt numbers, and receipt numbers not being rounded. Like, yes, obviously Here in Australia, we do not have pennies. Yet that wasn't a culture shock. Like, yes, every country has different change, different coins, all the different currencies, yes. But even moving here, it was quite interesting to see that, especially if like something's like a weird percentage off or whatnot, the receipt here in Australia, like 20.97 for example, or something literally will be something 99, and that is so normal. But then it'll literally have another line here in Australia that says like rounded 1 cent because, you know, there are no pennies. And so it's just so interesting. Or even when I went home to the US the last time, and literally first thing I did off the plane was, I need a Dunkin' iced coffee. I need caffeine in my veins. It's been like 20 hours on a plane. And I ordered my coffee, and then it was, oh yeah, that'll be like $2.93 or something. And I'm like, how did the 93? Where? What? Obviously, tax and everything is added on top of everything. It's not like here in Australia where almost all prices it's included, which is a whole other different thing. But it's just like, oh right, yeah, no, everything gets rounded here. But in the US, it's like, yeah, cool, I'll take your 3 pennies, please. No rounding. I want my 3 pennies. I hope you found this interesting. I would love to do more of these kinds.
It is no rounding. I want my 3 pennies. She ain't lying. But yeah, I think it's cool that Australia got rid of pennies. We should get rid of pennies. Who needs pennies? I don't know. I don't know why we have it. There's some things in Australia that I'm like, man, we should really adopt that over here. And pennies would absolutely be one of them. Get rid of them. There's no need for them. Time to do away with them.
Kind of sit down videos. I feel like I haven't really done them in a while, with chatting more in depth about different things that I've like realized, or culture shocks, or, you know, differences. Like, I still find them so interesting even after, like I said, living here for almost 2 years. So I'm gonna go get festive, get cozy. I have my gingerbread candle burning. I was gonna say brewing. No, burning right now, but I do actually need to go make another coffee. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Please leave me a comment. Was any of this interesting? I would love to know. Please leave me a comment if you get this far. I'd love to chat more. And I appreciate you guys, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.
Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this. Is there any of these things that you guys do, that these American habits, I guess, that you guys do? Oh, sorry about that. But absolutely enjoyed that. If you did as well, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, check out the next one. See you guys next time.